Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amirul Hidayat. I want to talk about 5 vaping facts that you need to know. If you have thought about trying to kick a smoking habit, you are not alone. Nearly 7 of 10 smokers say they want to stop. We think smoking is one of the best things you can do for your health. Smoking harms nearly every organ in your body, including your heart. Nearly 1/3 of death from heart disease are the result of smoking and secondhand smoke. You might be tempted to turn to electronic cigarette, e-cigarette, vape pen, and other non-disposable and disposable vaping device as a way to ease the transition from traditional cigarette, not smoking at all, but is smoking e-cigarette, also called vaping, better for you than using tobacco products? Can e-cigarettes help you to stop smoking once and for all? Michael Blahama, MD, MPH Director of Clinical Research at the Johns Hopkins Cicerone Center for the Prevention of Heart Disease, share health information about vaping. First, vaping is less harmful than smoking, but it's still not safe. E-cigarette hate nicotine extract from tobacco, flavoring, and chemical to create an aerosol that you inhale. Regular tobacco cigarettes contain 7,000 chemicals, many of which are toxic. While we don't know exactly what chemicals are in e-cigarette, Blaha says there's almost no doubt that vaping exposes you to fewer toxic chemicals than smoking traditional cigarette. However, there has been an outbreak of lung injuries and that's associated with vaping. In February 2020, the Center for Disease Control Prevention (CDC) confirmed 2,807 case of e-cigarette or vaping use associated lung injury, EVALI, and 68 attribute to that condition. This case appear to predominantly affect people who modify their vaping device or use black market modified e-liquids. This is especially true for vaping product containing THC, explained Blaha. The CDC has identified vitamin E acetate as a chemical of concern among people with EVALI. Vitamin E acetate is a thickening agent often used in THC vaping products, and it was found in all lung fluid sample of EVALI patients examined by the CDC. The CDC recommend that people do not use the CDC containing e-cigarette for vaping product. Avoid using informal source such as friend, family, or online dealers to obtain a vaping device. Do not modify or add substance to a vaping device that are not intended by the manufacturer. Research from the Johns Hopkins University on vape ingredient published in October 2021 revealed thousands of chemical ingredients in vape products, most of which are not yet identified. Among those, the team could identify were several potentially harmful substances, including caffeine, trace chemical never previously found in e-cigarette, a pesticide, and 2 flavoring linked with possible toxic effect and respiratory irritation. 2. Research suggests vaping is bad for your heart and lung. Nicotine is the primary agent in regular cigarette and e-cigarette, and it is highly addictive. It causes you to crave a smoke and suffer withdrawal symptom. If you ignore the craving, nicotine is a toxic substance. It raises your blood pressure and spikes your adrenaline, which increase your heart rate and the likelihood of having a heart attack. Is vaping bad for you? No. There are many unknown about vaping. Including what chemical make up the vapor and how they affect physical health over the long term. People need to understand that e-cigarettes are potentially dangerous to your health, says Blaha. Emerging data suggests link to chronic lung disease and asthma, as well as associated between dual use of e-cigarettes and smoking with cardiovascular disease. You are exposing yourself to all kind of chemicals that don't yet understand and that are probably not safe. Electronic cigarettes are just as addictive as traditional one. Both e-cigarettes and regular cigarettes contain nicotine, which research suggests may be as addictive as heroin and cocaine. What worse, says Blaha, many e-cigarettes users get even more nicotine than they would from a combustible tobacco product. User can buy extra strange cartridge which have a higher concentration of nicotine, or increase the e-cigarettes voltage to get a greater hit of the substance. Number 4. Electronic cigarettes are not the best smoking cessation tool, although they have been promoted as aid to help you quit smoking. E-cigarettes have not received Food and Drug Administration approval as smoking cessation device. A recent study found that most people who intended to use e-cigarettes to keep the nicotine habit ended up continuing to use traditional and e-cigarette. In light of the Ebola outbreak, the CDC advised people who use e-cigarette for smoking cessation to weigh the risks and benefits and first consider use of other FDA-approved smoking cessation option. A new generation is getting hooked on nicotine. Number 5. A new generation is getting hooked on nicotine. Among yours, e-cigarette, especially the disposed kind, are most popular than any traditional tobacco product. According to the 2021 National Youth Tobacco Survey, more than 2 million US middle and high school students reporting using e-cigarette in 2021. With more than 8 in 10 of those using flavored e-cigarette. According to Blaha, there are 3 reasons e-cigarettes may be particularly enticing to young people. First, many teens believing vaping is less harmful than smoking. Second, e-cigarettes have a lower per use cost than traditional e-cigarettes. Finally, yours an adult find the lack of smoke appealing. With no smell, e-cigarette reduce some of stigma smoking. What I find most concerning about the rise of vaping is that people who would have never smoked otherwise, especially yours, and taking up the habit, says Blaha. It's one thing if you convert from cigarette smoking to vaping. It's quite another thing to start up nicotine use with vaping and getting hooked. And nicotine often leads to using traditional tobacco products down the road. Research from the CDC shows that vaping among youth has declined somewhat since 2020 2020, kids being stuck at home under their parents' supervision during the COVID-19 pandemic could contribute to that trend. But Blaha says interpreting the data is tricky since young people change their preference often, and when surveyed may not consider using disposable products such as puff bar as vaping. The CDC report say disposable e-cigarette use the increased 1,000% among high school students and 400 among middle school students since 2019. Okay, that's all from me. Talk about 5 vaping fact that you all to know. Thank you.